It's 903 Boxing. I'm your host, Charles J. Yeah, this that soulful flow right here, man. Boxing and balls. And a whole lot of sauce. A lot of sauce. Okay. I just had to put some soul in it. Who making music for the people? I don't know many. Yeah, we the underdogs, but this gonna be a cold finish. I'm feeling like a scene robbing. Remember when it stole in it? 5 on the 8, I damn near did the whole sentence. Ate so much cold chicken, I couldn't imagine it smothered. If you ain't from the streets, you couldn't imagine the struggle. Imagine a mother with 5 kids, no dad in the puzzle. Hold up, now we back in the gutter. Passionate lovers, when I lost my dad, I had to recover. Hold up, wait again. I try to talk about the past and I stutter. Yeah, the cash was recovered, but for Keisha, I give my last just a hug. How can you love me when you laugh at your brother? I feel like that's telling. I'm fighting for redemption like Joe Louis versus Max Mellon. If nothing else works, I'm back selling. Ain't too many options for a black fella. Moment of silence. I'm only What it do, what it do? It's 903 Boxing. I'm your host, Charles J. Say, man, shout out to my audience. Shout out to those that's rocking with me. Yeah, we back in the kitchen. There's a whole lot of goddamn sauce in this pot, man. Let's get to the shit. Well, I don't know. Some shit crossed my mind. Just what if, hypothetically. What if Detroit Red never changed his name to Malcolm X? What if? What if? And I asked myself that question because, and I'm asking this question to all, because I've spoke about Malcolm X many times, and I've, since I've had this channel, and yeah, was he my favorite of all the black leaders and greats? Yeah. And it wasn't his leadership. Malcolm was not a leader. It was in him to be a leader, but he when he became a leader, he died soon after. When he finally became a leader, he died soon after. When he started his own organization, it didn't last a year. He was dead within a year. So he never really became his own leader until the end of his life. So like I said, I always consider him the greatest black leader, but when I look at it, he was never a leader until the end of his life. But he's still my favorite great amongst all the black people who spoke up and fought. He's my favorite because of the passion. That it ain't the speeches. He probably the best speaker out of all of them, I think he was the greatest speaker. Martin Luther King could do his little shit, but Malcolm was probably the best speaker too. But what impressed me the most was his passion for his people, his passion, his drive. It was the dedication. It was the dedication and the passion that's what solidified for me. Malcolm didn't really have no power, but he definitely had passion, and that's what inspired me. At a time when I was gangbanging and all that there, when I read the autobiography of Malcolm X as told to Alex Haley, which was a book where he was actually talking to Alex Haley about his entire life. Yeah, that book done it for me. I read a lot of books, especially after I stopped gangbanging. I read a bunch of books, but it was that book that really changed me. That book that inspired me more than any other leader, than Garvey, than all that. Then it was Malcolm X because of the passion. And we got similar stories. Malcolm X's father was a preacher. Mine was too. Now, my pops became a preacher later on. He wasn't no preacher when I was a kid. He became a preacher when he became a preacher, I was already in the streets. So growing up, my pops was
He's security guard at the club on the weekends and shit. So he used to party. You know what I'm saying? My pops was a player. He used to run women and all that there. But my pops was never a gangster. But everybody in the streets knew him. He had his little crew. See, my pops, nah, and my pops, he passed a few years ago from COVID. Rest in peace. But nah. My pops was a player type, and he wasn't with he didn't sell dope. He didn't do none of that. He wasn't really with violence or none of that there. He was part of the team when they had that get your back up off the wall. And all that shit and all that kind of music and all that. They used to break dance. Yeah, he had a crew and they used to go from club to club and break dance against other. But back then that was the most player shit. That's who used to get all the women, the break dancers. So yeah, my pops, he was an athlete, but he also used to break dance in the clubs and run women and little stuff like that. He was a player type. But yeah, he became a preacher by the time I was a teenager. But by that time, like I said, I was in the streets. And also my granddaddy was a preacher. My great granddaddy was a preacher. However, I am not, and I have no aspirations to be. Anyway, his father was a preacher. He grew up in a 2-parent home, just like me. Everything was good. Had siblings. Yeah, he and you got to understand that back in those times, it wasn't nothing like this. Like 85% of all black children are raised in a single parent home by their mother. 85% of our children don't have a father in their home. So it was normal back then to have 2 parents in a home. It was very not normal to not grow up with both of your parents. I want to say Malcolm was about 8 years old. Nah, he was a little older than that. I'm gonna say he was about 10 when his father was killed. And his father followed Marcus Garvey, so his father wasn't just a preacher. He preached against racism and all that there. And he joined the Marcus Garvey movement. Was it the UNI? I can't remember the name of his group, but Marcus Garvey had the biggest black movement ever. But the Back to Africa and all that there. But and he did a lot of other stuff besides the Back to Africa. But his father followed Marcus Garvey, and they tied him to the railroad tracks and let the train run over him. He had like 8 or 9 brothers and sisters. His mother was half white because her mother was taken advantage of by a white man. So his mother was half white, but she could pass for white back in the game. She used to take jobs where she played like she was a white woman until they seen all them black ass kids and she'd get fired. So the mother had a nervous breakdown. She was stuck with 10 kids by herself, which was not normal back then. She lost her mind, was in a mental asylum, and never came out of that mental institution. So Malcolm and all his brothers was separated. All of them went to different states, different cities, and was in a group home. However, I wasn't in a group home, but as a teenager, once my parents split up and all that there, and I got in the streets, I went from house to house to house to house to house to house. Getting kicked out here, going here, sleeping here, stuff like that. So, yeah. Like I said, Malcolm grew up in a functional 2-parent home and was a good kid, and father was a preacher and all that there. And like I said, I grew up the same way. Grew up in a good home. Yeah, we lived in the hood, but like I said, my pops wasn't no street dude, and we was good kids type shit. We were just kids that play in this and that. But like I said, once they divorced and I was with my mama, next thing you know, within a year I'm in jail. Within a year I'm banging. Within a year I'm doing all these things. So I related to Malcolm X. But and I see myself the most in him because when you separated from your parents at a young age, especially as a teenager, it's harder to find yourself. I can only imagine never having a father, But to have a father in your life and now he's no longer in your life, that was a drastic turn in my life. So it took me a long time to become my own man. What I'm saying, that's why I joined the gang. I was looking for acceptance. I was looking for family, for love. That's what I was looking for. But so when you do this and you grow up in these situations and you go from having a father to not having a father, Malcolm X struggled to be his own man, just like many of us do. But the only difference is back then, it was rare that a child didn't grow up with his father. So that's why men back then knew how to do everything, because their father taught them that. Well, Malcolm X skipped all that and went through boys' home after boys' home. Ended up with his sister, I want to say in Detroit, or it might have been in Boston. And then he ended up in Harlem, and that's where he started hustling. That's where he met Red Fox. That's where he met Bumpy Johnson. You know, he used to keep 3 pistols on him. Had the conch, which was similar to what the S-Curl is today. Yeah, he used to keep a conch with the zoot suits and all that there. He was a fly, low-budget pimp / player / jackboy / hustler. That's what Malcolm was, and that's when he was Detroit Red. And I want to say Red Fox gave him that name, because Red Fox, they used to call him Chicago Red. But yeah, I think he named Malcolm Detroit Red. So Malcolm was in Harlem, which was the spot back then, and he was hustling, doing little shit. All I'm saying is Malcolm's entire life, he struggled to find himself and to become a man and to understand that. So he looked in other men for advice. And that was Elijah Muhammad. When he was in prison on 7 year, he did 7 years. Similar to me, I got sentenced to 8 years. But and that was where I somewhat found myself. But it was Elijah Muhammad that he ended up writing and speaking, and you know, he got turned on to the Nation of Islam. And when I look back on that, was that a good thing or was it a bad thing? It really makes me question that now, because what if Malcolm X had to remain Detroit Red? Or what if he had what if he had to just been a Detroit Red / revolutionary? Because when he became Malcolm X, he stopped being his own man. And everything he said was led by Elijah Muhammad. Malcolm X was tricked, in my opinion, because his vision wasn't Elijah Muhammad's vision. His liberation and wanting to see black people in a better position and white supremacy and out, that was not Elijah Muhammad's vision. Elijah Muhammad was like Nebuchadnezzar, which was a king who thought that the world evolved around him and just did things for what we call today clout. That's what Elijah Muhammad did. Elijah Muhammad, he wanted people to praise him. He wanted to be a god to the people. Instead of leading the people into freedom and fighting and starting a revolution, Elijah Muhammad, he just wanted bragging rights. Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X realized after years, because he was with Elijah Muhammad for over 10 years, dedicated from the time he got out of prison. He began to realize when it was too late that Elijah Muhammad is all about bringing people to Islam and bringing people to his religion and bringing people to his church. That way they bring more money to him. That brings more to him. It became more about bringing people to Islam than bringing people to freedom. Elijah Muhammad was not on that. And I think Malcolm X was fooled into believing it. And when he started realizing it was too late. Elijah Muhammad was just like any other hustler. That's why I say, you know, if you ask me, I think Bumpy Johnson was a better man than Elijah. I think Bumpy Johnson was a better man and a better leader than Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad did do some dope shit. He tried to take the self-hate out of the black man's mind. I get that. The black man is God and the white man is the devil. And you did preach that, but you didn't want to fight. That's why I say Malcolm should have brought that Detroit Red shit with him. He should have brought the street somewhat mentality. That's what I try to do with the way I'm trying to fight white supremacy and the way I speak on. I bring a street, you know what I'm saying? Even though I'm, you know what I'm saying, I don't bang no more, but I still bring a lot of that because that's what a struggle is. That's what I don't try to be proper. I talk my shit, but I bring a little street because I was a warrior when I was a blood, and I was willing to stand on that shit. And I just bring a little bit of that mentality into the revolution. You got to bring a little bit of that street shit. You got to dig deep into that Detroit Red. You know, to that ignorant side sometime when you're dealing with oppression. Because Malcolm X became weak being with Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad didn't want to fight. And I'm not saying shoot him up, bang, bang. No, Elijah Muhammad didn't believe in no by any means necessary. He didn't believe, that was not his teachings. His teachings is everything Allah knows best and whatever. No. They was preaching two totally different messages. And that's what made Malcolm X a target to the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X wanted to fight. And when I say fight, everything go with it. It's not just shooting up white. No, it's everything. But that goes along. Yeah, you got to fight. You got to be willing to do some shit. And you know another thing? The biggest reason why I could never respect Elijah Muhammad and his little movement he had, even though they had plenty of money, they had plenty of businesses, and they was respected in the streets. The white boy didn't respect them though. They was respected. Oh, they was feared in the streets because a lot of them dudes were street dudes that was in the nation. Yeah, and many of them had, you know, they was pushing that heroin too back in the game. A lot of them was scoring for bumping just, but I'm just saying. But listen, nah. They were street dudes that the streets feared, but the system didn't fear them. It's a lot of shit. So, like I said, the Nation of Islam, it was never a threat to white supremacy. It was never a threat. That's why Elijah Muhammad they never did nothing to him. It's a reason why. All the leaders was killed. Every last one. They was killed or they was just destroyed. That never happened to Elijah Muhammad. That's why I think he was federal. That's just me. Because there was too many wiretaps in the Nation of Islam in that mosque in Chicago and in New York. The feds just knew way too much. That's just me, and you never got touched. You never got touched, and you never planned no attack or none of that shit. And that's why I say I could never respect Elijah Muhammad and his little Nation of Islam. Because I don't know none of them motherfuckers that ever strapped a bomb to him. Nah. You want to get my respect? Listen, I ain't with the Arabs either, and they oppress us too, and shit like that. And the motherfuckers took Egypt, and they oppressed us way back in the game. So that's why Islam, that's their religion. Why should I follow a religion that they oppressed up on us way back in the day? But what I'm saying is, at least they'll strap a bomb to him for Allah. At least they'll strap a bomb to him for Allah, because like I said, as crazy as it may sound, I know one thing, that'll get some respect, that'll get some order in this motherfucker. So like I said, y'all wasn't too goddamn militant. You motherfuckers talk that shit. At least the Arabs, and like I said, at least them motherfuckers build bombs and shit. Elijah Muhammad never built nothing to, and all that separate and give us 4 states, that was a scam to me. In my opinion, Elijah Muhammad did good things, but he also scammed the people. That was the biggest difference between Elijah and Malcolm. There was no scam in him. Everything was authentic. But like I said, bro, maybe you'd have been better off just fucking with Bumpy. Yeah, he was moving heroin. Yeah, he had Numbers houses. He had a couple whole houses. All I'm saying is if you had been Bumpy's right-hand man, and yeah, maybe that'd have been better than fucking with Elijah. Because one thing about it, you was broke fucking with Elijah. Yeah, he got you that little house and then the little house for your wife, and then took it once he kicked you out the nation. Took that house. But what I'm saying is, Elijah didn't never put no money in Malcolm's pocket. Malcolm was broke the entire time he was with Elijah Muhammad. All I'm saying, at least you would have made millions with Bumpy. And not only that, because Malcolm X changed Bumpy. It was later, but Malcolm X was a part of Bumpy Johnson getting out the drug game. Malcolm X had a huge influence on Bumpy Johnson getting out of the drug game. And Elijah Muhammad didn't like Malcolm fucking with Bumpy. But Malcolm fucked with Bumpy before he even went to the pen. So they already knew each other. But what I'm saying is, and take the dope game out of it. I'm just being sarcastic when I say that. I'm completely against us flooding the community with heroin or whatever. But what I'm saying is, I think Bumpy was a better leader than Elijah. And what I'm saying, with Malcolm street savvy, he could have turned that huge enterprise that Bumpy had. And Bumpy had the streets on lock. Not just that, he had the East Coast on lock. He could have turned that shit into a new Black Wall Street. A new Black Wall Street. That's all I'm saying. In my opinion, Bumpy Johnson had way more power than Elijah. Elijah was just talking. Elijah was just talking. Let me tell you something. It was way more white folks that feared Bumpy Johnson than feared. Didn't nobody fear Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad was just an old motherfucker talking. Bumpy was way more respected than Elijah Muhammad and way more feared. But yeah. Had Malcolm remained Detroit Red and still had that little hustler mentality in him, and I think he could have been a better leader to the people, and he would have had more power with the money from the enterprise of Bumpy Johnson and brought the East Coast and brought all the hustlers, put their money together and turned into a whole nother Black Wall Street. That's way more of I think that's a way better route than fucking with Elijah, because fucking with Elijah got you killed. Fucking with Elijah caused you to leave this world and leave your family broke. Leave your wife broke with 4 kids. This just real shit. Malcolm is my favorite of all the, but you left your family without following another man. And Betty X, because women today, I'm telling you, women today versus the Betty X's, they would have fucked Elijah Muhammad and left for Malcolm, because that's how these women is. Oh, that's your boss. That's who you look up to. So I want to fuck him, and he got more money. You broke. Yeah, that's how bros is today. But Betty X was a hell of a woman. But you can just imagine that deep down inside, when she saw Malcolm constantly putting himself on the front line for Elijah Muhammad, and then the way Elijah Muhammad shut him up for speaking on John F. Kennedy. Anyway, you can only imagine how she felt afterwards. Like, you did all this for this man, and he left us broke. You died, and I'm stuck with 4 kids, and we broke. So, yeah, Bumpy Johnson would have, she'd have been, listen, what I'm saying, though, all jokes aside, you know what's crazy? I'm going to tell you another thing about Elijah Muhammad. This is wild. I know this is a fucked up example. Malcolm X getting with the Nation of Islam is similar to Pac getting with Death Row after he got out of jail. No. This is some similar shit. Pac was fresh out of jail. Malcolm X was fresh out of jail. Pac got out of jail and got with Death Row, and he died after that. Malcolm X got with Elijah Muhammad, and he died after that. One of the similarities I must explain. And Elijah Muhammad, this was supposed to be some pro-black, lead the people to freedom. Elijah Muhammad was all, and I think if Malcolm if he had remained Detroit Red, he would have never dissed Martin Luther King. He would have never, because that was a Pac and Biggie type beef. No. Malcolm X got a lot of publicity for dissing Martin. If we want to keep it 100, Malcolm is my favorite of all time. But I'm saying he did some monkey shit. That was some rap. That was the first rap beef. No. Malcolm dissing Martin made his name hotter. Just like when Pac dissed Biggie. Okay, check this out. Just like Suge Knight encouraged Pac to diss Biggie, and it brought more money to the West Coast and Death Row, Malcolm dissing Martin is something that Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam encouraged. 50% of Elijah Muhammad's message is the white Jesus Christianity is bullshit, and blacks are Uncle Toms, and the down south, the motherfuckers soft, and they just waiting on Jesus, and they been lied to, and they believe in a fake religion. That was most of his message. So Elijah Muhammad encouraged Malcolm to diss Martin. He encouraged it. Oh, but when Malcolm spoke on John F. Kennedy after he got assassinated, he told him, don't even speak on it. When they ask you about John F. Kennedy, don't say nothing. When Malcolm X said, yeah, John F. Kennedy dying, it feels like the roosters are coming home to, the chickens are coming to roost. Elijah Muhammad suspended Malcolm for speaking on a white boy. Hold on. It was okay to speak on another great black man in Martin Luther King, who was a great black man. It was okay for him to diss him over and over. You encouraged that beef. Oh, but when he speak on a white boy, that was just a little too much. When he speak on the president being assassinated, that was too much. You suspended him for speaking on a white boy. Yeah, I think Malcolm would have been way better off as Detroit. Yeah. Because he was smarter than Malcolm. When he was with the Nation of Islam, he was too period hard. That's why he didn't see the fuckery till it was too late. He was so loyal and devoted and period heart that he didn't see the way you motherfuckers fucking me over. And the way you motherfuckers hating on me. He was so full of love and passion for what Elijah, and to make Elijah Muhammad proud. And everything he said, these are words of Elijah Muhammad. He never took credit for nothing he ever said. So now while he being loyal, they making sure he stay broke. He never gained power. That's why I said he probably been better off with Bumpy. He'd had plenty of power with Bumpy Johnson. Bumpy Johnson was a multi-millionaire. Yeah, Elijah Muhammad was too, but he wouldn't have shared the wealth. Bumpy would have made Detroit Red a multi-millionaire. And I hate to say it, but even back then, and especially today, black folks need money. We need power to do anything. Because the one way black people could change the world tomorrow, we could change the world tomorrow. We could change everything in this country tomorrow. But I know this will never happen. It would take every black man and every black woman to just don't go to work. Just every black person in this country take a stance. We change tomorrow. We change shit tomorrow and be willing to die. You will never get all black people to stand on code, and we ain't going to work. We ain't doing this. We ain't showing up to the job. The football, and boy, don't let them basketball players stop dribbling. Oh, boy, don't let them NFL players and white folks can't see them and they tight. Don't let that shit start. And it be a hope the world will change tomorrow. White folks will change laws tomorrow if we done that. But that ain't going to happen. You'll never get all black folks to agree on that shit. And be willing to die too? Oh, no. So the best way for black folks is we must gain some kind of economic power. We must build something. We must own something that the white boy can't take. And so back then, all the money Nation of Islam had, bro. Yeah, they had plenty of businesses. Elijah Muhammad never set up nothing to defeat the white boy. See, because me, just like Malcolm, I have the same ambition. You must defeat your oppressor. Elijah Muhammad's goal was never to defeat. Malcolm wanted to defeat the white boy. I wanted to defeat the white boy because that's who controls everything in this country. No, Elijah Muhammad never wanted to beat the white boy. He never wanted to fight the white boy. He just wanted separation. He begged the white boy, just give us 3-4 states. Just give us 3-4 states, and he wanted separation. Let's stay away from white folk and give us 3-4 states instead of getting back to what's ours. Malcolm and Elijah Muhammad had two totally different missions. And while Elijah Muhammad was crucifying other black Muslims for infidelity and all these things, Elijah Muhammad, I'm telling you, bro, Malcolm lived a disciplined life, never smoked, never done none of that when he was with the nation, following a man that was doing whatever he wanted and was tied in with white folk. Like I said, it's a reason. There was never no attempt on Elijah Muhammad's life. There was never. And I'm going to go a step further. Farrakhan, it's a reason why he's still here. Oh, boy, he can talk. Yeah, I think he can even talk better than Elijah. Farrakhan ain't power, and he don't scare white folks. He talk good. He talk good. He talk good. Farrakhan is, when rappers look up to you, I know you ain't shit. Hate to say it like that, but it's just cold facts. Anytime rappers look up to you, I know you ain't shit. Farrakhan ain't never led no fight to defeat white supremacy. Farrakhan just talk good. He just talk good. None of you motherfuckers had what Malcolm. See, Malcolm was willing to die. Farrakhan or Elijah wasn't willing to die. That's why they was never killed. Let me tell you something. Motherfuckers talk that soft shit about Martin, and he laid down and got sprayed with the water hoses, and they fought a non-violent fight. Martin was willing to die, and that's what happened. And the reason why they killed Martin Luther King, it was later on in his years after Malcolm was killed in 65, because Martin was killed in 68. Those 3 years, a lot of things happened. More blacks was killed. All the leaders was killed in the mid-60s. What was his name? Something like that. Medgar Evers, Fred Hampton. It's a lot of them that got killed. Huey P. Newton was hiding out in Cuba from shooting that police officer, and I think he killed the officer. But he was hiding out in Cuba. So there's a lot of shit going on. Martin started to see that this nonviolent shit, we dealing with a system so evil that even when I show you I don't want to harm you, you'll still beat me. You'll still put them dogs on me. Even when I show you that I don't want to harm you, I want to spread Jesus' love, and I want us all to be Christians. The white boy let you know, yeah, even though we call this a Christian nation, no, we don't believe in that doctrine we taught y'all. We don't believe in that doctrine we taught y'all. No matter how non-violent you are, no matter how much you speak about love, I still hate you. I'm gonna still put that white sheet over my head. Different kind of enemy. Different kind of, and nobody proved. That's why Martin was a leader. Malcolm was never a leader. Martin was the leader. The greatest thing Martin ever did was he showed the hate of white supremacy. That even when I show I don't want to harm you, you'll still kill me just out of hate. Nobody exposed the government the way Martin did. But even Martin, at the end of his life, he started building, he started believing in ownership. When white folks saw that, and it wasn't just no more nonviolence and just Jesus and preaching, and when he started talking about black people to own stuff and economic power, that's when they killed him. When Martin started realizing that nonviolence would never get us free, that's when they killed him. Malcolm X. A lot of people can say the Nation of Islam killed him. I'm not here to say they killed him, but I know one thing: they wanted him dead. Elijah Muhammad, the entire nation, they wanted him dead. That's a fact. Whether they did it or not, we definitely know it was black men that killed him. But I can't say whether they did it or not, but I know they wanted him dead, so you just as guilty. They was happy when he was killed. I know that. I believe that. I believe they was happy. I believe they threw parties and they celebrated with white folks when Malcolm was assassinated. That's what I believe. But I think it was the government, because it's a reason why when Malcolm was with Elijah Muhammad, his life was never on danger. It wasn't a lot of death threats when he was with Elijah Muhammad. White folks didn't fear him till he got away from Elijah Muhammad. Why is that? And that's why I believe Elijah Muhammad was with the government. Once he separated from Elijah Muhammad, that's when the death threats really started. When he left the light, and they tried to disguise it as, oh, it's just the Nation of Islam. Nah, bro. The government didn't like it because if Elijah Muhammad is my informant and he's with us and you with him, whether you know he's an informant or not, you work for us and you don't even know it. So once you left the nation, oh no, you ain't with us no more. Now you dangerous. Now we can't control you. See, long as Malcolm was with the Nation of Islam, they could control. He did everything Elijah said. Elijah Muhammad was not for protesting. He was against all that. He didn't like how aggressive Malcolm would speak at times about, if you shoot one of mine, I'll shoot one of yours. Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam did not practice killing white folks or being willing to die. No. The Nation of Islam just, they kept them motherfucking bean pies, and they built a couple schools and little shit like that, and they kept the little Nation of Islam journal. The little paper they used to keep out there, the paper with them goddamn and do some shit like that and build a church just like the preachers do now. They just want more members. No, Elijah Muhammad is just like the modern day preacher. They just want more members. That's all. So they can brag to other preachers, and I got the bigger church, and I got So Elijah Muhammad, he had a selfish agenda. He just wanted to be great. He just wanted to be followed. He wanted to be a God to black people. Yeah, Elijah Muhammad, he wanted to be God because he said he's the messenger. He wanted to be our Jesus. Meanwhile, he was tied in with the government. Like I said, when Malcolm left Elijah Muhammad, that's when the death threat started. And not only that, This is what really got Malcolm killed, in my opinion. Malcolm would have never went to Mecca. Malcolm would have never went to Africa if he was still with the Nation of Islam. Elijah Muhammad didn't believe in war. He didn't believe in liberation. When Malcolm traveled to Africa and was dealing with other African leaders and started doing that shit, that's when the CIA and the FBI said, we got to get rid of it. He's getting together with other black people around the world to start a revolution. And he done started his own movement. And even though when he went to Mecca, they really tried to pimp on Malcolm. Because Malcolm said, I see blonde hairs and blue-eyed people, and they praying to the same God just like me. And even though I've seen nothing but racism in my life in America, I found that all white folks ain't bad. And white folks tried to push that message and push Malcolm to believe it. But what they was really trying to do is get him off his mission. And another thing they didn't like when Malcolm started his movement. He said, listen, this is an all-black movement. There will be no whites involved in this movement. If you want to help, go help your people, and y'all fight to end the hatred and the racism that's in many of y'all heart, and y'all fight against that shit. But I don't want you in my movement. So that was another thing. And like I said, when he traveled and went to Africa, that done it. He started his own movement. It was nothing like Elijah Muhammad's movement. It was nothing like that. And when he got to dealing with other African countries, it was too much. Because Malcolm, before he got killed, he was turning into, instead of just an American leader, he was becoming a world leader. Too much power. Too much power. But like I said, had he remained Detroit Red and fucked around with Bumpy Johnson, his family, even if he died, they'd been left with plenty of money and they wouldn't have struggled. And Bumpy Johnson would have protected him more. Bumpy Johnson was trying to protect him at the end of his life, but Malcolm didn't want the protection. Let me tell you another thing, and it's the biggest reason why I think he should have remained Detroit Red. Yeah, when I think on it, Malcolm last 2 years, he just wanted to die. Malcolm X was trying to die. He was tired. Tired of worrying every day. Tired of this and tired of that. And not just tired of the death threats. He was betrayed by the very man that he looked at Elijah Muhammad almost as a god. He would have never disrespected him. He would have died at any moment for Elijah Muhammad. That was like his father. And he found out that he was molesting underage girls and doing all these other things. And it's the man I follow. To me, that's the biggest reason why Malcolm was just ready to die. Because it's like when you find out everything I ever believed in was a lie. Malcolm just wanted to go on and die. And you motherfuckers straightened in my life. Y'all wanted to kill me. And y'all was hating on me the whole time. But my heart was pure. No, Malcolm he just wanted to die his last 2 years. He was just waiting to die. That's why I say I think he'd been better off as Detroit Red. And been on some gangster shit. And shot at white folks and shot at the cops. Yeah, that version of Malcolm would have been much better than the one that followed Elijah Muhammad. So his last 2 years, he was just waiting to die. When he spoke at that mosque in New York and they shot him up, before that, his security was like, he said no security and don't bring guns in here because I don't want black people to feel uncomfortable. Detroit Red would have never done that. Detroit Red used to keep 3 pistols on him at all times. When he was Detroit Red and he was hustling in Harlem, he kept 3 pistols on him. And so the Malcolm wasn't violent. Detroit Red was violent. See, that's what I just think it should have been a combination of see, we needed a violent I'm gonna tell you another thing. Being with the Nation of Islam made Malcolm soft. Made him soft. He began to just talk. The toughest shit Malcolm did, I'm just keeping it 100, and he's my favorite of all of them. The toughest shit he did was when he went to that police station and the brother got beat up and he demanded them to let the brother, and Bumpy Johnson helped with that too. But yeah, he demanded they let the brother out, and he had all the Muslim brothers lined up like a military. What made that the most powerful thing Malcolm ever done, it's the order he put it in. How when he put it the signal, they walked off. It was the power. That's the only time Malcolm looked powerful, when he was up under Elijah Muhammad. That's the only time, was when he led out on black people to the police station. Some Elijah Muhammad would have never done. Elijah Muhammad never put in no work. That's why I say, bro, he and white folks didn't fear him, bro. He was their friend. They were co-workers. So yeah, that's the toughest shit he did. But other than that, Malcolm, it's a lot of shit that happened where Malcolm wanted to take action, and I don't mean with violence, just period, take action. And Elijah Muhammad waved that shit off. Elijah Muhammad was never for results. He was never for empowerment or freedom. Elijah Muhammad was like, yeah. So it just is what it is. Like I said, Malcolm being with the Nation of Islam remind me of when I was a blood. I could never be my own man. And I followed some bullshit. Just like the Nation of Islam was some bull. He thought that was what black people needed to become free in America. The Nation of Islam was never the answer. And to find that out after over 10 years of dedicating my life to this, all over the streets of Harlem that I once hustled, now I'm handing out these bean pies and these news articles from Elijah Muhammad Speaks and all this there, and I'm dedicating my life to changing and converting everybody to a religion that I realized in the end never would save black folks. And Islam is owned. That's what I'm saying. Religions are owned. White folks own the Catholic Church. White folks own Christianity. The Arabs own Islam. That's their religion. That's their shit. We can keep trying to branch off and make it this our version of Islam. Islam, that's their shit. That's their shit. So, black people don't have a religion. It's no black religion. Christianity, the Catholic Church, that's the white folk shit. Islam, and Buddha is the Japanese and Chinese. That's Asian shit. Everybody got their own God except for black folk. No. Everybody got their own God except for white folks. But Malcolm X was brainwashed and Elijah Muhammad he had some pimping in him. He was very manipulative. And he convinced Malcolm, he directed him away from his path. Just like Suge Knight directed Tupac away from his path and encouraged the East Coast, West Coast beef. Elijah Muhammad encouraged, because before the East Coast, West Coast beef, it was the East Coast, down South beef. The Muslims versus the Christians down South. The Christians are weak, and all they do is lay down and let white folks spray them with water hoses and let the dogs bite them. But what the fuck did the Nation of Islam do? See, Elijah used to try to, and he had Malcolm on that shit. Well, Martin Luther King weak and this, and he provoked that beef. But what the fuck did the Nation of Islam do? They ain't never put fear in white folks' heart. Them motherfuckers didn't never shoot at white. They didn't do a motherfucking thing. When it come to militants and getting respect, the Nation of Islam was not respected by white America. That's a fact. So, while we was arguing over bananas, who tougher, the Nation of Islam or the non-violent and the civil rights movement, which tougher? Neither one of them was tough, because neither one of them got us freedom. So Malcolm in the end realized that the Nation of Islam was never the answer. Me following this man was never the answer for black folk, because that's what he wanted, liberation for black folks. That's what Martin Luther King wanted, liberation for black. And he realized this civil rights shit'll never get it. This voting, and we thinking voting gonna get black folks what we want, you's a goddamn lie when the white boy own and they got the majority of the people. So we can't get them to vote nothing unless white folks agree. So, we ain't but what, 12% of the population, over 200 million of them, and there ain't but 40 million of us. No, voting ain't never been the answer. It's the streets, bro. I'm telling you, Bumpy Johnson and Detroit had Malcolm been Detroit red and still had a street mentality, and got in this shit and still been aggressive and really a shooter, a young shooter. Malcolm, I ain't gonna say Malcolm would have fucked you, but Detroit Red would have fucked you up. He was a street dude. You combine that with the revolutionary mentality and him having that effect on Bumpy and the power Bumpy had. Yeah, I think Bumpy and Detroit Red could have led a revolution. That, and it would have been much more powerful than that shit with Elijah Muhammad. Yeah, Elijah Muhammad was just fucking on young girls and pimping on shit and lying to black folk, and he was just getting all the money and collecting it. So now Malcolm spent his last years just waiting to die, and I hate that, because a part of Malcolm, you know, I try to look into the psyche and shit. Like, a part of Malcolm damn near gave up. A part of Malcolm, damn, yeah, he started another movement and he was fighting and he was doing shit. He had shit in line. He had a lot of shit in line, and with other African leaders. He had a goal to fight, but a part of the betrayal with Elijah Muhammad and the fact that it's not just white folks want me dead. The people that I once dedicated my life to, many of them want me dead. It made them somewhat feel hopeless. It's just my opinion. When I read his book and the things he's saying, because in that book, the autobiography of Malcolm X is told to Alex Haley, Malcolm would go on rants. Similar to what I do. I go on rant. I just get off topic. Malcolm X used to do that shit. And he used to express the pain he felt from the betrayal of Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. You motherfuckers want me dead now, and I ain't never done nothing to you. All I did was speak on a white boy and John F. Kennedy. I spoke on his death. And y'all destroyed me. Y'all cast me out for speaking on a white boy. Meanwhile, y'all cheered me on for dissing Dr. King. So like I said, that was the first rap beef to me. Yeah, Martin and Malcolm, them was the first diss tracks. And that was hip hop before hip hop. But yeah, had Malcolm been Detroit Red, he'd have joined hands with Martin and convinced him that that nonviolent shit ain't what it is. It's some cool shit you done exposed and showed the world what they will do. But after that, bro, we gotta fight another way. Yeah, Detroit Red would have been more willing to work with Martin than Malcolm. Like I said, because Elijah Muhammad encouraged him to basically say fuck the civil rights and fuck them folks down south. So if anything, he had a lot to do with a lot of the division amongst blacks that was trying to bring about a change. But like I said, when Malcolm said something about John F. Kennedy, Elijah Muhammad punished him for that. So yeah, I think he damn near would have been better off if we at least kept a little bit of that Detroit Red. And don't get it twisted, even though when Malcolm changed his life and got with Nation of Islam, he still had street savvy because he still was fucking with Bumpy. He still was fucking with street hustlers, but he was trying to change them and get them to go with Nation of Islam rather than teaching them to fight white supremacy. He got caught up in teaching Islam rather than teaching black. That was the biggest thing. Yeah, Elijah Muhammad had Malcolm just bringing people to the nation so it looked better for him. But he didn't. He got away from what Malcolm really wanted to teach. Teach you motherfuckers liberation. That's a message that Elijah Muhammad never teach, was liberation or fighting. Or fighting white. He never taught fighting white supremacy or liberation. Elijah Muhammad never taught that. He taught Islam. He taught Islam. That's what he taught. And that the white Jesus is fake. And that's a fake God that they gave us. But meanwhile, you serving an Arab God. So I don't want the white boy God or the Arab God. I just want the God, the creator, and that shit. Because religion don't teach none of that shit. Don't no religion teach you the creator. We don't know. So yeah. I don't think no religion gonna get me closer to God. I don't know. And I think if there was ever anything that God will want, he would want you to stand up for your people, especially when they're oppressed. That's what I think. That's just what I think. You know. Yeah. Even in the Bible, you know, Jesus, they talk all that turn the cheek shit, but he was really a fighter. Yeah. He was really a fighter against oppression. So, that's what all the great leaders was for. So, it is what it is, man. But yeah, Detroit Red, and I'm gonna tell you one more thing. Had Muhammad Ali, had Cassius Clay never changed his name to Muhammad Ali, I think he'd have been a better man. And not only that, I think he would have never suffered brain damage. I think none of that stuff would have never happened had he never changed his name. And he would have never lost 3.5 years of his prime. Muhammad Ali sacrificed for the Nation of Islam. It became a thing about the Nation of Islam, and because the Nation of Islam pimped on Malcolm, Cassius Clay. They got money out of him, bro, and it made the Nation of Islam bigger that the heavyweight champion is a Muslim. That's all that shit was about. It wasn't no liberation, bro. It was pimping, bro. Yeah, you get down with us, and when you get hot, it's just gonna make us bigger. That's all Elijah fucked with Cassius Clay for. Because when he couldn't talk, y'all didn't fuck with him. When there wasn't no more money to get out of his checks and all that thing, and you didn't stop that Larry Holmes shit, and you didn't stop all them fights at the end of his career, you motherfuckers pimped on him just like the white boy did. Listen, just my opinion. I think it was more than just accumulation of punches. Yeah, Ali took a lot of punishment. I think it was more than that. I think it was an effort to shut him the fuck up. Because that's the only time America ever loved Ali. They never loved him and never said he was the greatest. They never loved him until he couldn't talk no more. Oh boy, now that he ain't confident no more and ain't got a big loud mouth, white folks could tolerate him. White folks loved Ali after he couldn't talk no more. So, I don't know. Had he stayed Cassius Clay and said fuck Elijah, I damn near think he wouldn't have lost 3.5 years of his prime. And I damn near don't think he would have ended up with that the way he did. Yep. Cause yeah, when he started shaking and shit like that, what was Elijah Muhammad then? What was the Nation of Islam when Ali couldn't talk no more? And when he was stuttering and when he could barely move, what was you motherfuckers at then? Now y'all only wanted to claim him when he beat Sonny Liston and was on top of the world. That's the only time y'all wanted to claim him. And and I'm gonna tell you another thing. The Nation of Islam was not fucking with Muhammad Ali because they really thought Sonny Liston was gonna beat him. They was really rooting for Sonny Liston. That's the truth. But Sonny Liston worked for the mob, the Italian mob. So, and they fucked over him in the end. They had him killed. But yeah, Sonny Liston worked for the mob, for the head of the mob. But yeah, when he was Cassius Clay and shit like that, he probably been better off. Like I said, bro, that's why I'm hesitant to join anything. I just think we just need to be black. That's all. Let's just fight and just be black. It ain't got to be a name for that shit. Because black folks get jealous when a group is started and they want to form a group that's better and people in the group want to be bigger than the group. I don't want no group. I just don't want no group. I don't think that's the solution for black. We just got to be black. Let's just all have it in our mind and just understand that we just want liberation, bro, and just equality. That's all. That's all. It ain't no victim mentality. Dude, man, this Mexican man, he been texting me so much, bro. I just had to tell him, bro, this is it. You know, he's still mad because I said that about showbiz. Showbiz is fair, and he doesn't always go for the black fighter, but sometimes he do. He just call it like he see it. No, he don't, bro. He got an agenda, bro. No, he don't, bro. He only shit on black fighters. That's what he do to please others. And when a black fighter lose, he gonna be shit on them the most to please others because he know non-blacks will come in his chat and fuck with him just to hear him do the monkey dance. That's what he do. But anyway, the motherfucker tried to tell me all this victim mentality. I am so tired of people trying to tell a black man that he got a victim mentality when you motherfuckers ain't never gave us a quarter of the shit you took. Of all the label, I wouldn't give a fuck if we lazy and and our women got 5 baby daddies and the motherfucker just depend on food stamps and a check. But you motherfucker, man, listen, bro. Man, boy, if you motherfuckers knew how much money cotton bring in, all them crops and all that shit and all that free labor, all them hundreds of years, bro, that's why you got America. Who built the fucking White House? Who built? So, nah, bro, y'all get credit for what a group of people was enslaved and suffered to do. You can never have no victim mentality when your oppressor never made things right, never even tried to make things somewhat equal, never gave you a dime. You could never have a victim mentality when the very people on this earth, they can say, well, it was just my ancestors that hung y'all from trees and chopped you motherfuckers up and fed you to alligator. Yeah, that was just but you carry the wealth the money they got from killing them babies, selling us all over the country. No, you still living off the wealth. You just as guilty. You might as well have hung them your goddamn self. And that's most white. Most whites, no matter how nice they are for empowerment and the betterment of their people, even if it's at the suffering of black people. That's 99% of white folks are in agreement That long as my people can stay on top, I don't give a damn what happened to black folk. Yeah, and every now and then you give your lawn boy, you give him an extra $100 and you nice to him. And sometimes you bring him in the house for some tea. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to if it's me or you, white folks are for them. Even if it's at our detriment, even if it's for fentanyl coming in this country, even if it's for CPS, even if it's for mass incarceration, they're for the betterment of their people. And they'll throw you a few bananas for your troubles. So, now, pimping, it is what it is, bro. Nah, that victim mentality, you missed me with that shit. You missed me with that shit. You missed me with that shit. How the fuck can you have a victim mentality when another motherfucker ain't never gave you reparations or even suggested that shit? No, it ain't no such thing as that. So, this a system, and eventually we must stand, or divided, we gonna always fall. So, maybe one day we'll get tired of falling and slipping on banana peels and just harming ourselves while we already in a fucked up situation. Maybe we'll get tired of fucking over each other one day. Maybe one of these old days. One of these days. Yeah, one of these old days. Yeah, maybe we'll get tired of it. Maybe the monkey dance will just get tiring and we'll come up with another dance. And maybe we'll get tired of fucking over each other and keeping each other down while we already in a fucked up situation. And learn to love each other and build each other up. Because that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take, love. And there ain't nothing black people involved in that represent love. Not nothing. It ain't nowhere I can go where there's black people around and there ain't nothing but love around me. Now, it's going to be some hate. It's going to be some jealousy. Old bitch-ass motherfucker looking at my Jordans and he think he fly. Watching this girl and shit. And it's going to be some bullshit wherever I go where black people are involved in. It's some bullshit and it ain't going to be no love. That's for damn sure. So, that's another thing Malcolm got away from. His love for his people. He got caught up in Islam. It's cool because I studied it. It's a cool little discipline. It teaches discipline. Oh yeah, Ramadan, all that there. It definitely teach discipline. But it didn't teach them love. It didn't teach us to really. Elijah Muhammad never really taught love. He just taught. It was a bunch of rules. It was to me, the Nation of Islam was the Crips and Bloods before the Crips and Bloods. They were just more organized because y'all whoop our ass if we fuck up. Yeah, you couldn't even be a Muslim, get caught with a cigarette, you get suspended and all these rules and shit. It just became some shit. You just became the white boy. Yeah, you want to free us from the white boy, but I got to follow your rules now. I'm telling you, bro, I ain't following no rules. I don't want no group. I don't want no initiation. I don't want no affiliation. I just want to be free. I want to be free. I just want liberation and equality without joining a motherfucking thing. I don't want to join nothing that black people involved in. That's just me. I don't want to. I love my people, but I don't even like being around my people. That just. If you ever want to know how I really feel, so, nah, bro, it is what it is, though. Yeah, Malcolm probably would have been better off as Detroit Red. He definitely would have had plenty of money. Yeah, if he had joined hands with Bumpy Johnson, Malcolm would have had plenty of money. Betty would have been left off well with them 4 daughters. It's a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit. And Bumpy would have never betrayed Malcolm like Elijah Muhammad did. Yeah, like Farrakhan and them did. Nah, and laughed at his death. They laughed at. And another thing, you motherfuckers never retaliate. You didn't attack white folk. You didn't look for the kid. You didn't attack a bitch ass thing. You motherfuckers stayed quiet like bitches. The entire Nation of Islam stayed quiet like some bitches. Gang banging motherfucker. You motherfuckers was Crips and Bloods before Crips and Bloods. Because he ain't a member. That's why you didn't cry for him. He ain't no member. That's why you didn't take care of his wife. That's why you didn't take care of his 4 daughters. He ain't a member. Nah, he got to be down with the nation. He got to be a member instead of a black man. So, yeah, just love me because I'm a black man. Don't love me because I got to be a member. I don't want to be a member. Just love me because I'm another black man. Why I got to be a member? Why I got to join the group? It was like, the Temptations ain't shit without David Ruffin. Y'all begging me to leave, and I refuse to let you go. Yeah. I'm telling you, bro, any group amongst black folks, it's gonna be a David Ruffin. I'm just telling you, it's just hard to start something with black. It ain't even no name for this shit that I got going. It ain't no name, it ain't no group. We just want to be free, bro. That's all. It's just a bunch of black folks that want to be free. So you can jump on this ship to freedom, and we gonna sail to freedom. That's for damn sure. We gonna damn sure try. So I'm telling you, bro, the group shit, all we gonna do is war with each other. All we gonna do is fall out, and now we want to kill each other. So before I want to kill another black man, I'd rather not join your group, pimpin'. I'd rather not form a group just so I don't have to kill another black man. And instead of fighting white supremacy, the whole movement become me killing this other black man, and we forget about white folks and we forget about freedom because we get so caught up in beefing with each other. So I don't want no more Lil Durk, NBA Youngboy beefs. So yeah. This group is just called Freedom. Freedom. Yeah, that's all this shit is, bro. It ain't no name for it. It ain't none of that shit. And all it takes to qualify, you must put in the application, though. You must put in the application. And like I said, if you just want to be free and you willing to die behind that shit, and you're not going to turn on your brother, that's damn near all that you qualify for. You just want to be free. You tired of white supremacy. You taking a stance. You willing to die for that shit, and you won't betray your brother. Yeah, you can join it. You can jump on the ship. That's all it takes for your membership. It don't take no money. It don't take... Yeah. This the ship to freedom, and that's what I stand on. I stand on that shit. But we in a time now, black people, we gotta acquire economic empowerment. We must have something to stand on. We must have something to stand on. We need to acquire generational wealth. We gotta own something, black folks. I'm telling you, it's about, marching is cool and all that other shit, but we gotta own some shit. We gotta have something to say it's ours. And the NFL ain't it, boxing ain't it, and the NBA ain't it. So we gotta get something that we own. We gotta manufacture something that gets us respect in this country. We gotta own something. We gotta be able to get a seat at our own table. We got to have our own Fortune 500. We got to have our own Black Wall Street. We must have something of ours that the white boy can't take. So, yeah, we got to do some shit like that. And we got to have something for these kids because they ain't got shit to do but be on their phone. So until we can build something for these kids, and I ain't talking about no goddamn Boys and Girls Club. Because, like I said, all you motherfuckers you do just like the football coach. You just want to fuck on the mama. All them single women, you just want to fuck on the mama and use the kids to fuck on the mama. yeah, just like the football coach. But yeah, this is 903 Boston. I'm your George J. With that, I'm out.